try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment before I lose myself. And it's no use working 9 to 5 if you want more than to stay alive. So come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, the morning light. Oh, I just wanna be your Superman. Come fly with me, just take my hand.
Sharing. Thank you so very much for sharing. It's thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. Now, I have a question for you, and I'm going to say something, and after that, I'm going to have Sherry to talk about the mammogram and all that stuff. But is it possible? I know that Brother Timmy's there. Is it possible for him to join you after we do this? I mean, if it's okay with him. I just want to know if he would like to join the conversation. I would really appreciate that if he would like to, because we're talking about family, we're talking about the support system, we're talking about, what it is like to go through. And then, it's one aspect of you going through, but it's another aspect from the family that, some people don't even realize how hard it is, mentally, physically, emotionally, from your psychologically, from the family's perspective, if at all, I haven't seen it in a while, but it'd be nice to see if at all that he would like to come on, we'll appreciate that. Get your thoughts together. But at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit. I'm going to have Sherry to come on and talk. So here's what happened with me back in I think it was like 2011. I was actually in Georgia at that time, 2011, 2012, around that time. And I was in Georgia. And I remembered it was my first mammogram. And normally, when you're going for a mammogram and what have you, if they don't have anything to compare it to, it gets a little bit, I wouldn't say confused because the doctors know what they're doing. So I went for the mammogram, and they told me that they saw some calcifications and they wanted me to to come back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my first mammogram, like, hello somebody, this is the first thing out of the off the bat that they're gonna come up with. And let me tell you something. There's something about the mammogram specialist that they are so caring, Sherry. They are so caring, and they're so warm and gentle. And the mammogram specialist that I had at that time, she said to me, don't worry, but she said everything is going to be okay. They just need to check. So one thing that she said to me, because when they said to me to come back, I said, well, why am I coming back? So they said they wanted to do another check because this was my first mammogram, and they wanted to do a check because they don't have anything to compare it to. So I went back and I did the test, the check again, the mammogram again. And it was on my left breast. So I did that again. And then they said that they didn't like what they see because they saw a cluster. And normally when it's a cluster, they really want to make sure that it's not cancerous. So they're going to have to do a biopsy. And I mean, honestly speaking, I was scared. I was nervous. I did not know what to. But one thing I did was, you talk about the faith in God. and trusting and believing God. That's what we do here. And I said, okay, God, that's what they want to do. And I know that I have to go back and do this, but I went in a prayer and fasting. Listen here. And I got some olive oil, blessed oil, and I rubbed that area. I rubbed the left breast because that was the area where they were talking about that one. And I'm telling you, I prayed and I fasted for 3 days and said, God, I pray in the name of Jesus that whatever is there, you remove it from me, whatever ailment, whatever sickness, whatever calcifications that's there, please, God, please don't let it be cancerous in the name of Jesus. So when and I did the biopsy, and they put was it like a clip or something there? So I did a biopsy and everything like that, and it came back negative, and I was so happy about that. However, they said they wanted to do another biopsy, but to come back in 6 months. So the technician, the mammogram specialist, she said to me, she said, don't wait for 6 months. She said, go back in 3 months, because what they can see in 6 months, they can see now in 3 months. And so I took her advice and I called the doctor and I said, I am going to come back. And this is about maybe like about 2 months in. I said, can we set an appointment for next month sometime? So it'll be at least 3 months. And for the other biopsy. And what she did, let me tell you something, mammogram specialist, I love you all so much. She saw that I was scheduled for that particular day because I called her and I told her, and she rearranged her schedule because trust me, that thing hurt. Listen, when they have to stick that needle, trust me, it hurt. It hurt. But they said that they numbed the area. But me, I don't like pain. So it didn't feel like they numbed the area. Okay. So it really hurt, but it was for my good. They needed to know. And so what that lady did, I will never, ever forget this. She rearranged her schedule so that she can be there with me that day to hold my hands. I kid you not. And she sat, because you have to lay down on this table here with your face down, and they have to come on this side and they stick you there. And she was at the front and she was holding my hand. And girl, let me tell you something. I squeezed that hand. And I squeezed because I'm like, that needle was really painful, but I'm really being, transparent, because I want to let you know it is not the little pain that you go through to get all of these things done. It's nothing compared to what you have to go through if you don't. Okay. And Sister Carrot gave her testimony, and there's a lot of things that she must have left out, painful, everything. But let me tell you something. You don't want to go through. If you can avoid it, you do not want to go through that. Early detection is so important. So needless to say, I went ahead. She was very caring. She was there, and she did she held my hand and everything like that. And thank God that I was able to, I came out from that and everything was fine. Fast forward to, was it 2 weeks ago? My annual, of course, they call you, oh, it's time for your mammogram, and they tell you 6 weeks in advance. So I'm very careful every year that I make sure that I do get my mammogram done, physical, everything done. And I went to get my my mammogram, was it 2 weeks ago, right? 2 weeks ago. And that's where I met, my beautiful friend here, Sherry. And they called me back. I went that Monday at 7:00 that evening, and they called me, was it that Tuesday, I think it was, and told me that I have to come back because they did not like what they see or something like that, right, Sherry?
Yes.
And so I had to go back, and I went back last week, Thursday. I think I went back last week, Thursday, and that joker hurt. I'm not. I was like, oh my gosh, it's hard. Please, I'm waiting for the day when they'll do it where you don't have to touch anything. You just stand there and it just go around you and everything. I am waiting for that day, because let me tell you, when they squeeze, I'm like, good God, from Zion, It hurt, people. It does. It did. And oh, I didn't cry because I'm, yeah. But God knows it really it did. Sherry was so sweet to me. I'm telling you, Sherry was so sweet. But I'm telling you, it did hurt. They needed to get, was it 4 more enlarged pictures or something, and I sat and I waited, and the nurse came back, and the specialist came back, and she said that they want me to come back in 6 months because everything looks okay now, but they want me to come back in 6 months. And I'm going to tell you, between that Monday when I took the mammogram and the Tuesday when they called me that I have to come back, I was praying again. I believe in God. I believe God is a healer. I believe that God is a deliverer, and he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. That's the word. And whatever your plight is, whatever it is that you have to go through in life, he will bring you through. But I just thank God that when I went back, they said everything looks okay, but I have to come back in 6 months. To God be the glory. I will go back. Do not omit, do not disregard, do not sit around and wait for it. Hi, Brother Tim, how you doing? Good to see you. Do not wait until the last minute or wait until it's too late. Early detection is so important. And with that in mind, I'm going to have Sherry, who is the mammogram specialist, to speak to us. And Idri, if you want to, jump in and say anything and ask questions after Sherry, we can do that. And then we're going to get to Brother Tim, to speak from the family aspect. So Sherry, take it away. But thank you so much, for just your tenderness. Thank you so much, Sherry, for just your little encouragement there, because it makes a big difference. Because when you go to get your mammogram, first of all, you're praying that nothing happened. You go in, you get it, everything is good. They call the next day, everything is fine. You're happy, you're gone, you're good. But when they have to call you back, trust me, you believe in God, yes, but it also raises a level of concern. Okay, so we thank God for all things great and small. Sherry, take it away, speak to us, and let's see what we can do.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I met Darnell a couple of weeks ago, and she was my patient. Loved you. You're so sweet. So just to let you know, October is breast month, and you should grab your sisters, your mother, your daughter, your aunts, friends, anybody to get their mammograms. It is so important. I hear a lot of times people tell me, I don't have a family history. I'm not really worried about it. Yes, you may not have a family history, but it does start somewhere. You may not have the high risk, but anybody can get it. So just to let you know on that, that's really important. I know you hear horror stories about having your mammogram, and yes, all you ladies know it is not comfortable, but the 30 seconds or the 1 minute, which takes the entire exam, is worth going through chemo or biopsies or anything like that. And early detection is so important. Because some things, I know we have a lot of patients that say, well, can't I just have an ultrasound? No, you can't just have an ultrasound. Mammogram is the first choice of breast cancer detection. We pick up the calcifications like you spoke about. Calcifications are tiny, tiny little white dots that you're not going to see on mammogram, on ultrasound or on MRIs. So, and majority of your calcifications are benign, but some are not. So that's why you want to have your mammograms. Let me just tell you a little bit real quick of what you would experience when you came, in case you didn't have a mammogram. You would come, no deodorant. The day that you come, freshen up before you come, because we like you to be fresh. But no deodorant, because deodorant can mimic a calcification. So we want you totally natural when you come. When you come, we will take a couple pictures on each breast. A paddle comes down, squeezes your breast to one thickness, and it's tight. It's about 10 to 15 seconds a picture. And then we'll do it. You should. Most people, in my place, we give you a call the next day or hopefully the day of. Some people don't. Some people will send you a letter. Some of your doctors will call. Just make sure if you don't hear within a day or so, give them a call. Just make sure, because no news doesn't mean good news. It could just slip through. So just be sure that you find out how that was. If you do happen to get a call back for additional imaging, please, please, please don't panic. Because a lot of times we call you back, it's just to clarify some things. In your case, we were calling you back for calcifications. When you get called back for calcifications, we want to look at them because they're so tiny. It's like if you took a dot and you put it on a piece of paper. That's how tiny it is. So when you get called back, we're going to make your breast look big so we can see the shape, the size, the number of them. That's all important. That's really important to find out. The majority of them are benign, but some of them are not. But if they are not, it's an early sign of breast cancer for calcifications. With that, a lot of times they'll biopsy you, they'll take them out, and then a lot of times they do a little radiation with it, but then they're gone. You don't have to worry about them again. Sometimes we follow them. If they don't look suspicious, sometimes we follow them for 2 years, every 6 months, just to make, like in your case, just to make sure they don't change in shape and size and numbers. So that's really important to make sure if you ever do get called back to do your follow-up, okay? One of the important things to do is if you ever change facilities is to always, if possible, bring your old mammograms with you, because you always want to compare your old images to your new images to see if there's been a change. That's the most important thing. So that's with that. I don't know. Do you have any questions for me?
All right, Sherry, thank you so very much for that. It's oh Lord, Sherry, it hurt.
Yes, it does hurt. It does hurt.
It does.
But you know, it's for a few seconds of discomfort, and always keep that in your mind. It's just a few seconds to stay well, and it's yearly. Just to let you know, baseline start at 40. Okay, so anybody, any of your friends that are 40, you want to start them at 40, unless you are feeling something, which you do want to do your self-breast exams monthly. Okay, and in that, I don't know if people know how to do it, but you can do it laying down with your arm raised, and you can do it that way, or you can do it in the shower. Soap up, do it, go down like 3 fingers, go down each breast until you feel it and go around. Breast exams are number 1 you want to do. You want to do your mammograms. What else do you have to say? But it's so very, very important to have your mammogram, and make sure you do it yearly. Do not skip it. I can tell you from experience, I can do mammograms this year. Everything looks good. They come back the next year and it may not be, but you're catching it early. And that's the most important thing. That's why you're doing these. You want to catch it at the earliest stage possible. Sometimes, I mean, I did one lady, I did a mammogram and I looked at it and I seen something and I said, oh my gosh, did we miss something? And I went back to look at the year before and there was nothing on that mammogram, nothing at all, but it showed up the next year. That is the importance of doing it yearly. Whether you like it or you don't, it's so very important. So, and it is a little discomfort, but, and let me tell you ladies something also. When they're doing the mammogram, if you ask them, and I don't know if I did this for you, Darnell, ask them to go down by hand. It's a lot less pressure and slower, where we can control it a little bit better. So if you let them, just tell them, please, please just go down by hand. I think you ladies will be a little bit more satisfied at how it's done.
Excellent. Excellent, Sherry. Thank you so very much. Dree, anything to jump in at this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a wonderful topic, and I appreciate correct, for coming on and sharing her story. And it's so, and for Sherry, for all the information that you're sharing with us, with the audience today. And, you know, and with me learning, learning different things about the breast cancer awareness. But I do have a question for both of you. But Sherry, first, I will say to you, what are, I know, some of the symptoms of identifying breast cancer? I know that there's lump, right? That's the main thing, is the lump. Mm-hmm. So are there any other ways to identify, that may bring,
So let me tell you something also. When you, by chance, when you're finding a lump, if it moves, that's usually a good sign, okay? Because it's usually a cyst. If it is stationary, we look into it. Well, either way, we're gonna look into it. So just going back to the lump, if you came and you felt a lump with us, what would happen is we would do your mammogram. We would show the doctor the images to make sure that there's no additional imaging that they need. And you will also have an ultrasound, okay? Ultrasound is always a great tool in conjunction with your mammogram, because ultrasound helps us decide whether it is fluid filled, which is a cyst, or if it's a solid. So that helps with what treatment we want to do for you, whether we want you to come back in 6 months to look at it again, or whether we want you to go for a biopsy. Lumps are usually the main thing. Pain, just like she was saying, if you're having pain in a particular area, majority of the time they say that it is not cancer, but we just learned that that is not true. So you always want to have that looked at. If your pain is all over and it comes and goes, that is usually a good thing. But if your pain is always consistent in one area, you don't let that go. You need to definitely have that looked at.
Okay. And so, Ms. Sherry, again, so thank you for that info. So now, it's amazing that we always think that when we speak of breast cancer, we are only speaking to women. And so now it is evidence that male are also being diagnosed with breast cancer. So for the male, are they checking their breast or chest the same way that a female would?
They definitely can. Yes, absolutely. I do men all the time. They're a lot harder to do than women, I can tell you that much. But they definitely, we've had a friend of the family that had breast cancer. I just want to give a quick story. I had a man come in for a routine mammogram, which we don't do routine mammograms on men. We do them if they have issues. And a lot of times they may be, most of the time it's something called gynecomastia, which is the swelling of the breast tissue. And it can be also related to a lot of the medications they're on and stuff like that. But this guy came in and he came in for a routine mammogram, and he had a history of breast cancer, and so did his wife. And they recommended that their son do routine mammograms, because now he had two parents with the breast cancer, and the man didn't want to do it because he was embarrassed. It was a woman's test. It's absolutely not a woman's test. We would do the same thing that we would do for you. We would do their mammogram. We show the doctor. We do ultrasounds. And sometimes they have to go for biopsies, and sometimes they do get breast cancer. So,
okay.
But they should also, be aware of your body. So.
Okay. So my last question to you, I know, as I said, it's such a great topic, and such information is so prudent to have. So I know for sure that, I know of a few females that I know who have gone to get their mammograms, and some of them who go yearly, and there's some of them who go every other year, being that they're so scared because of the radiation.
Yep. The amount of radiation you get with a mammogram, every year it gets better with technology. The amount of radiation you get for a mammogram is so minimum. A lot of times they equivalent to if you go on a plane, you get radiation. It's about equivalent to being on a plane. Or if you walk around New York in the day, during the day, there's background radiation. You're getting about the same amount. You may have to go to New York for a couple of days, but the amount of radiation you get with the mammogram is so minimum, and it's directed directly to your breast. So there, it's not getting all over your body. So yeah, I would never be afraid of having a mammogram ever, even if you had to have it a couple times a year and do your yearly mammogram. No, it's not going to affect you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I jump in one more time? I'm sorry. I know.
Okay.
But Ms. Sherry, so can you recommend what age? I know before they used to recommend females from age 40 and up to start getting mammogram. Can you just say what age? Because I know now that it seems like a more younger females are getting breast cancer. So what is your recommendation for people? What age do you think that they should begin to?
It's still, we follow ACR, which is the accreditation for our mammogram. And their recommendations is age 40. The earlier you have a mammogram, your breasts are dense. So when we say your breasts are dense, when you get your mammogram, there's 4 categories of breast density. There's fatty breasts, there's scattered breasts, and there's dense breasts. The younger you are, the denser your breasts are. And denser doesn't mean anything is wrong. I have a lot of patients come in and they tell me, oh, my breasts are dense. I have this dense, and they make it out to be like it's almost like a disease. There's nothing wrong with your breast if it's dense. When it's dense, your breasts are made up of fatty breasts and of fibrous breast tissue. And fibrous breast tissue shows up whiter on mammogram. And that's where we give it a density, because it's a whiter, and sometimes it can be a little more difficult to see through it. Most people today have, most facilities have 3D mammogram, which is an excellent tool for going through your dense breast. So that's why they don't recommend that you have your breasts routinely examined before 40, because as we get older, our breasts become more fatty. But in that note, our daughters should be doing breast self-exams, even when they're young. I mean, the youngest I've seen a breast cancer on is 19, and that is sad. That's really sad. And any age is sad, but they need to do breast self-exams young, just to know. And, if they have a lump, they need to be checked out. If they do have a lump young, usually we start with an ultrasound. That way, they're not radiating their breasts, and because they're hard to see. But if it does, I won't say that we won't do a mammogram on young people, because we do mammograms on young people if needed. But usually we'll start with ultrasounds. 35, you could also start your mammograms 35, especially if you have a family history. They would start it at that age. Okay. But don't be afraid of getting mammograms, ladies, please. It's so important. And it's 5 minutes of your life, which could definitely make a change.
That's wonderful, Sherry. Thank you so much. And Drew asked some very, very important questions, and we got
she sure did. They were great questions.
We got some very interesting answers and very informative. Now we're gonna
Hi, my name is Phil, and I am the president and CEO of Phoenix National Network. Question: are you missing all the shows on Phoenix National Network? Well, I tell you, not anymore. Download the app today on your Apple, Android, cell phone, or mobile device. Catch all your favorite local programs from all your local entrepreneurs and churches. It is nothing to miss. Download the app to learn more just by typing in Phoenix National Network on your app or Droid store. Click below for more information, and we will see you on the platform. Don't miss it. It's there for your benefit.
So here we go again, it's no surprise. 'Cause we know better than to roll the dice. So take this love and try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment before I lose myself. And it's no use working 9 to 5 if you want more than to stay